Welcome, John Satsimas, CEO, Western Sydney Wanderers. Welcome to Western Sydney Leadership Dialogue's digital dialogue. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Adam. Not too bad, mate, considering, and it's certainly been an interesting time for all of us. And thank you for having me on the pod.
Mate, no dramas. It's been a while since we've seen each other face to face, and obviously, as you mentioned, things are a little bit different now. But for Wanderers, we're looking at off-season time for you, time to digest the year that was. How would you summarise the last season? As you guys started off well, sort of tapered towards the end, and didn't quite make the finals, but still a decent season nonetheless.
Yeah, certainly. We started off fairly confidently in terms of where we were with a new coach, and we had all high hopes and aspirations, as we always do every time this year. But it certainly didn't pan out as we hoped on the pitch. Away from the pitch, certainly we've been going gangbusters, and very, very happy with where we've gone. We've come a long way in a very short period of time, and infrastructure is now in place, and our community work and our engagement with the Western Sydney region, which is the premise upon which we were founded, was certainly solidified. So, we've got a lot of work to do still on the pitch, but I have no doubt it'll come this season.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the engagement, and that's an important word. I think it's one that's synonymous with Wanderers from day dot. That you guys have done a lot of work even before you were officially born to engage with the communities and all of Western Sydney. I think there's a sense of ownership there that comes through that work that you did in the early stages to establish those connections with communities at all levels. You've continued that on. How important is that connection with your base? Obviously, been a little bit trying in recent circumstances given COVID that you haven't had fans there, but the supporter base that you've got, probably the most passionate in the code and arguably across Australia. Talk us through the process and your steps towards establishing those connections and those relationships with your communities, and what have you noticed in the last 12 months to 18 months in terms of re-establishing that and getting people back together and getting behind the Wanderers?
Well, when we established the club in 2012, it was always on the premise that we were going to be raw and real and authentic. I mean, those of us who are born and bred in Western Sydney and live it every day and feel a passion like you do, understand the significance of it. And we're not only where the clubs come from, but where the regions come from over a long period of time. Long time disenfranchised, and we're seeing the advocacy work that the dialogue does, and we work together with you on a number of fronts. But that has never changed. So irrespective of whether we have a good season and a season that's not so good, it remains a fundamental part of us that we remain authentic and representative of the Western Sydney region on a number of fronts, and whether that be in the community space or sporting space or advocacy space, it is imperative that we maintain that mantra. You can always talk the talk, but when you walk the walk, and I think the Wanderers have shown that in the last 9 going on 10 years now, that we're not just a club that's dictated by on-field results. We're a community representation, and we need to be that at all times.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another good point, I think, and one thing that I can say on behalf of the dialogue as well is that your role extends, beyond just football and those posts. The work that you're doing, the leadership that the Wanderers have shown on a number of issues, and I know we've worked with you and had you guys involved in the Powerhouse campaign, putting your voice and your name and your brand forward to say that the Powerhouse is a good thing for Western Sydney and for Parramatta. Being involved in those issues outside of the sport has been a personal interest and passion of yours. What are some of the things moving forward that you want to see added to the Western Sydney story? Sports played a big role in it. Is it something in the sporting context that you'd like to see us see the region get a better handle on? Is it something on the infrastructure space? Where do you see Western Sydney going, and how can the Wanderers play a part in that?
I think that it needs to be the profound message needs to be that the best can come from the West at all times, whether it's whatever industry you come from. We represent the sporting landscape in terms of football. We want to be a national brand. We've had success in the international front. We want to get re-energise the success on the domestic sporting front, and we will do that. But the commitment of the Wanderers in that regard cannot be questioned. We've built a $25 million facility at down in Ruby Hill in conjunction with the Blacktown City Council, supported us in that regard. But it's been a long project, and we're here for the long haul. So that provides an opportunity not only for the professional men's and women's teams, but also our female academy that will come into play. It's already come into play this year, 14 to 17-year-olds, free of charge, the first A-League side to do it. With the first A-League side to do academy training for youths. So we want to use that as a platform and provide the leverage point there for others from Western Sydney to realise their aspirations and represent Western Sydney in the best front in the football game and basically international space. The infrastructure is built there. It's there to be used. It's there to be augmented, the Western Sydney story, because we're all colleagues in this, right? So we're only a part of it. We're a spoke in the wheel, but we believe that we're an important spoke in the world, and we're very collegiate in that. And in terms of that, we work with councils, we work with corporate partners, and we work with anyone who wants to work with the Western Sydney Wanderers to make sure that the Western Sydney story, it's important to me, it's important to my staff, and it's important to the board of directors, and that message will never change while I'm there.
Yeah. On the topic of sport, you talked about the pathways and the sort of focus that you guys have had in developing the young talent that's coming through the region. You and I both know that the region is home to some of the most prodigious sporting talent to come out of the country for a number of years. Speaking generally, how do you what's your thought process and your process in terms of what the Wanderers are doing in terms of nurturing and fostering that talent? It doesn't always equate to A-League success. It doesn't always equate to sort of any other type of footballing success. But as a person and at that personal development stage, what role is the Wanderers undertaking to ensure that young talent that comes through the system is nurtured and fostered in the right way?
So we've committed to be not only focused on the professional, the A-League side and the W-League side, but it's also the programs and development programs that underpin that. And I touched upon the academy programs, but even when you don't have success on the professional level in any given season, what have you achieved? Have you provided with the outlet for the young players to come through? And if you look at our first team now, there's 5 or 6 players that have come through an academy program. Okay, we haven't had the opportunity to win things in the last couple of years. But having said that, there's 5 or 6 players that had the opportunity now because of that void in the first team to be able to cement their spots. So now they've got 20, 30, 40 games under their belt, and they're able to cement themselves as true representatives of the Western Sydney region. And it's no different to the W-League team. We're planting those seeds, so we're able to have those shoots come through to our W-League side, and they'll play for the Wanderers one day at the senior level, but then also go to the Matildas or the Socceroos. So we've built infrastructure. Even though our team hasn't been as successful in the A-League space for the last few years, we've built the infrastructure. We've done things away from it to ensure that pipeline and the opportunity for the young generation of Western Sydney players, boys or girls, are there. And we're also working the power chair space as well to provide people with less fortunate as well to represent Western Sydney. So it's an opportunity for everyone. Yeah,
you're definitely playing the long game there, which is great. There's no shortcuts to success, and you're putting in the systems in place now to ensure that there's a longer term success there. On the field again this year, we saw the MacArthur team enter into another Western Sydney team into the A-League. What were your thoughts? I mean, obviously, you share a similar patch, although you guys are probably a bit more broader and they're specifically southwest.
There's only one Western Sydney team. I'll say that.
I'm careful. I'm trying to be careful with my words too.
No, but they're all
good or bad. Competition, good thing for the sport, Western Sydney.
No, it's good. Look, the people there are good at MacArthur. True, we say things in jest, but competition is good. It's an opportunity for people in that corridor to be also participants. And you've got to admire people that want to be involved in our game. It says a lot about our games. It says a lot about the region that people want to believe in it. And it's not a small investment to be involved in national sport. And we're focused on what we always have. It doesn't concern us. Down the road, we believe in what we've done so far has held us in good stead. We've got a world-class facility, we're a first-class stadium. We've got the academy structure that's over 11 hectares of land there to provide the opportunity. we are in prime position here in Western Sydney, and the competition is good. But like I said, there's only one true team in Western Sydney, and we intend to be at the eminent part of that.
Indeed, mate. Looking at sort of next steps for you guys. I mean, and this, I suppose the A-League in general. I mean, football's got a sort of a checkered history in this country, back to the NSL days, and to the A-League, which kicked off in great fashion and really hit some big heights there early on. Sort of plateaued a little bit, had a bit of a spike and then a lull. I'm not quite sure where it's at now and how you describe it, but as a code, where do you see the A-League? Is it in a good space at the moment? And what needs to happen to get it going in the right direction?
I think we're in a fantastic space. I think with the dawn of a new era is upon us. We've got the APL now is pushed away, which is the professional leagues, has pushed away from the FFA and able to control its own destiny in terms of the professional leagues, and that's about to start this season. And we've separated there, so the professional focus is on the professional leagues. There's a new television broadcast deal that's in place with Paramount Plus. We're extremely excited by that. We have the opportunity there to solidify there for a 5 to 8 year period, which provides us with a platform to go where we need to go. And obviously we've got the Women's World Cup in 2023, which is an exciting proposition for women's sport in this country, and no least of the Wanderers. And we have a fantastic facility out there that will be looking to host international teams. And certainly it augurs well for the Wanderers and football in this country. And we're very excited about what's on the horizon.
Excellent stuff. John, thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy man. A lot happening on. Any tips on any big signings coming up for next year you can tip us into?
Oh, there's a couple of things coming up, Adam. I'd love to share it here right now, but I can't. But having said that, we're very excited about what we're soon to announce. So, look, it's exciting times. We've got unfortunately the COVID has certainly challenged us all, but this won't stop us from being ready to go in October.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we're back at full tilt by then and got a full crowd out at Bankwest for that opening match, mate.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the dialogue support.
Thanks, John.